What is coachability? Michael Jordan once said that, my best skill was that I was coachable. I was a sponge and aggressive to learn. And I think that's a great summary of what being coachable is just ingesting the things and learning, regardless of what your preconceived notions are, or even what you've heard from a different coach, is just taking those perspectives and taking those to heart with the intent of change. So what does it mean to be coachable? Coachable refers to an athlete's attitude, not athletic skills. These are things that do not show up on a stat sheet that are so desirable for college coaches. So a coachable athlete is one who openly and humbly listens to honest feedback and, willingly applies that feedback to improve their development. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. When you get high-level athletes going to college, those coaches are recruiting those athletes. That's an adaptable skill that every college coach in the country is looking for out of their recruits. So, coachable athletes understand that they're not perfect. There's always room to improve, and basically to show the appreciation for the coach's time and feedback. You have to actively listen in those scenarios and actually learn. You have to apply those things so that coach can see that you're taking that feedback and putting it to good use.
We talked about the difference between being coachable and being uncoachable. You talked a lot about the attitude, and that translates over, and you can really see these aspects in a student athlete. You can see these athletes and athletes for sure. Even when you're watching high level athletes and professionals, sometimes they don't look all that coachable. They might be a student athlete that is pouting. They may eye roll. They may complain. They may disagree. They may challenge everything. They don't do well with direction or criticism. On the other hand, a coachable athlete has a different mindset. Coachable athletes are open-minded, willing to make changes that will improve their game. They understand that constructive criticism is meant to help them improve, not to be taken personally. I think that really comes down to just what Danny talked about earlier. I think he nailed a really key word in humility. Just the acknowledgement, the acceptance that as a student athlete that you are not perfect. And guess what? You're not. And guess what? As a human being, you're not perfect. No one is. None of us are ever going to be. There's always going to be room to grow. And so again, it comes back to a life lesson that goes beyond sports, that there's no such thing as perfection. There's always room to grow. There's always ways that we can be coachable and continue to improve. And it goes back to having that level of humility to be willing to be coached, to be willing to take on new challenges and accept your own flaws and acknowledge them and try to improve them. And I think that's, again, a great lesson for young athletes out there, is that you only have room to get better. You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be at the highest level you possibly can be. There's always more room to grow.